I just filmed my Disneyland video too, and I can feel myself running out of breath from talking so much, so we're doing good. But hello, welcome back. You may notice I look exactly the same, and that's because I literally just filmed my must-do Disneyland attractions, and now I'm coming back to talk about DCA. And like I said in that video, I love California Adventure. Like, I love the parks I love both of them. Duh. I'm a West Coast bitch, what am I gonna say? But I love DCA. I feel like I grew up with DCA. It's like super nostalgic to me. I said this in my last video, but your girl is a DCA 1.0 purist. Like, love me the Maliboomer, love me some Orange Stinger, love me Paradise Pier. So I have a lot of feelings about DCA personally. Do I love the direction she's gone in the last 5 years? Maybe not, but I do think it still has a lot of great attractions. So today I'm going to be talking about attractions that I think are like must-dos if you're doing a DCA day. Obviously I recommend park hopping and going back and forth and things like that, but these are things if you are planning a day in DCA and you want to get a bunch of attractions done that I think you have to do that are super unique. I don't think there's really any overlap between any of the parks in Disney World and DCA. Midway Mania obviously is exactly the same. I think that's literally it. Like, even like the little kiddie rides like Golden Zephyr and like Jumpin' Jellyfish and stuff, I don't think there's really like an exact dupe. I guess you could argue about Mission Breakout, but yeah, I think Midway Mini is like probably the only one that's like literally an identical thing to the one in Studios. The big attractions I guess I'll talk about first are the thrill attractions. Like I said in my last video, I am more thrill based. I like thrilling rides, I like coasters, I like drops. I thrive at places like Knott's. I love coasters. I love to be kind of scared. So my personal preference may be different than your personal preference, especially if you're traveling with little ones and families and things like that. So keep that in mind. My word is not like the end all be all, but if you're like a 20 something and you love thrill and you love like adrenaline rushes, you will probably like vibe with me pretty well here. So I'm going to talk about the big thrill ones first, and I'll leave racers for a minute, but I'm going to talk about the two really thrilling ones first. And first off, it's probably my favorite ride in all of the West Coast parks. So I do still like Tower of Terror more, and I do like Everest more, but if we're talking West Coast parks, Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout is probably my favorite ride. I just think it's really, really well done. If you are a Marvel fan, it's super cool to see, especially if you're a really big Guardians fan. There's so many like teeny tiny little things put into it. I was very against this ride when it went in. If you don't know, I love Tower. I would die for Tower of Terror. I have a Tower of Terror themed tattoo. Like, I love Tower of Terror. Don't get me wrong, I literally was wearing a Tower of Terror themed shirt in one of my last videos that I filmed. So I love Tower, but I do have to say that Mission Breakout is done really, really well. There's lots of like cute little like Easter eggs put around places. If you don't know, one of my favorite ones is if you're walking into the queue and you just get inside the building at Mission Breakout and you look up, there's all these boxes on the ceiling. One of those boxes has a little baby figment in it. So you'll see it's a purple box and it's got a little figment in it. It's kind of like a little Easter egg for East Coast visitors coming to the parks, or people who just like for some reason love Figment. I don't know. I'm not a Figment stan, but there's a lot of Figment stans, so like I'm not here to shame y'all. Things like that I think are just really cool. It's also a lot less scary, so probably more child friendly than Tower of Terror because it doesn't have that spooky factor. It's just really fun. If you've never ridden it and you've ridden Tower, it's more bouncy. They've essentially taken out the drops that just like sit you like on a shelf and then drop you. The whole thing is moving the whole time. It has all of the Guardians characters in it, obviously, and I do think it has a pretty good rideability factor because I think there's 6 songs that you can get filtered through. Do I always get the same 3 songs over and over again? Yes, but that's fine. Yeah, I just think it's so fun. I'm always like laughing the whole time. I think it's great. I love Mission Breakout. I do think, like, I love racers, and I'll talk about racers in a second, but I think Mission Breakout is like a must-do, especially if you like thrill rides. The other one that is relatively new, but is still more of a thrill ride, obviously, is the coaster that is now Incredicoaster. I don't want to talk about California Screamin' because that coaster was my childhood. As much as I was like sad that Tower was going away, like at least Tower still exists in other parks, I'm so sad about California Screamin' going away because it doesn't exist anywhere else. And like, I will watch California Screamin' ride videos because like the safety spiel from Neil Patrick Harris is like ingrained in my DNA. I love California Screamin' so much. Again, I talked about this in my last video about how it may be a nostalgia thing, the same way that my dad loved Indiana Jones. My dad loved California Screamin' and he took me on it a bunch when I was a kid. So definitely just an emotional connection to me. But at the end of the day, Incredicoaster is still the same setup. It's still the same coaster. So it's awesome, obviously. If you have a like little one who's tall enough for it and really likes the Incredibles, obviously they're gonna love this. It is really cute. The soundtrack is really cute. They pump like cookie smell in at one point. That is like just a nice little extra thing. I don't think it's better than California Screamin', and that is maybe a controversial opinion, but I do think if you're someone who loves a classic coaster, it is the only classic coaster in those parks, so obviously you need to do it. Now onto the prize jewel of California Adventure, that is Radiator Springs Racers. I just realized I didn't talk at all about Galaxy's Edge in my other video, so I'm gonna need to film a clip talking about Galaxy's Edge to put it in, because I constantly forget the Galaxy's Edge exists at Disneyland. I was so used to being there for opening day in Disney World that I literally forget it exists in that park. Damn it. Okay. Back to Radiator Springs Racers. Obviously, this is the #1 ride in DCA. This is why people recommend getting Max Pass. This is what people run to and rope drop at the beginning of the day. It's just a great ride. If you've ever ridden Test Track, it's what Test Track wishes that she could be because it is so superior to Test Track. It's just all around insane. It is thrilling because it's fast moving. It's super fun. It has like all the animation and IPs of cars. Obviously the animatronics are ridiculous. It's got like 2 different options in the ride, so it has that re-rideability factor. So I do recommend riding it twice to see if you can get both options when you like go into the shop. It has like the interactivity because you're like technically racing against another car, even though like there's no way for you to win, but it adds a fun little thing to it, especially for kids that have no idea that they can't control that they're winning. We've all talked about Racers. We know Racers is amazing. It's no surprise. We love Radiator Springs Racers. It's great. I personally love cars. I literally don't know why I love cars so much. I talk about this all the time on Twitter where I'm like, why am I in love with Lightning McQueen? Doesn't make any sense. He's a cartoon car who's kind of annoying, but yet I love him. Like, I just think Cars is fun for the whole family. Cars Land as a whole is just cool. The other 2 rides are obviously like, they're essentially like copy and pasted rides that they threw a Cars theme on, but they are good for little ones. So as much as I wouldn't say like you need to do Mater's Junkyard Jamboree and Luigi's Flying Tires, is that what it's called? I literally don't remember. I think Luigi's is cooler than Mater's. I don't say you need to do them, but if you do little ones, sometimes I find DCA lacks rides for smaller ones, so you could hang out in Cars Land, but I'm not really going to talk about those 2 because like they're just okay. A classic that obviously exists in other parks, so I don't want to harp on it, is Soarin'. Soarin' is a classic ride. It exists in Epcot. We know her. We love her. She's great. All I want is for them to permanently bring back Soarin' over California, because that is another ride that is deeply ingrained in my subconscious from being a child. Those orange groves, it's the next level for me. I love Soarin' over California. I just want them to bring that back so bad, and they don't permanently. They'll bring it back occasionally. So for any reason you were in the parks when Soarin' over California is in that ride as an overlay, dear God, go ride it just to see it, because it is so insanely superior to Soarin' over the World. It's crazy. But obviously Soarin' is like a classic, so even if it's just Soarin' over the World, you should ride it. But if you can get it at Soarin' over California, oh, it's magnificent. Fantastic. I would die for her. The last one, and this one I'm super excited to talk about because it actually is good for little ones, where a lot of these have been like adult centered, but Monsters Inc. I don't know what it is about this ride, but I love it. Every time I go to DCA, I ride it. It's so dumb. Like, it's a little dark ride. It's so similar to like Little Mermaid, which is also in DCA. If you have an Ariel fan, you gotta do Little Mermaid. But it's so similar to like Little Mermaid, Nemo, and Disney World. Like, it's the exact same setup. You're just in a little car, but it's so cute. I love Mike Wazowski so much. I love Sully. I love them all. I wish they would update it because now they do have Monsters University and they haven't done anything there, but I just think it's so cute. Like, I just love the Monsters Inc. ride. I always ride it. There's like a cute little door out front to do a little photo shoot, but I just think it's real cute. I don't really care for it because I'm not a big like getting wet person. Not like that. But Grizzly River Run is essentially the same as Cali River Rapids in Animal Kingdom, where it's just like a tube water ride. If you're going in the summer, it's a good way to cool down, but it also gets really long wait times in the summer. But it's something special. You have like the trails and things like that back in the like Grizzly Peak area, which are like fine. I think the challenge trails are kind of fun sometimes, but like obviously they're not most trails. You got all the little kid rides, like I said, Golden Zephyr, Jumpin' Jellyfish, things like that. And then I obviously can't speak to it because it is not open yet. It's supposed to open in the summer, I believe, but the Avengers Camp is opening in the summer, so you're gonna get a new restaurant, you're gonna get a Spider-Man themed ride, I think, which from what I have seen looks kind of like Midway Mania in the setup, but obviously if you're a big Marvel fan, work into that. Those are kind of like your basic things. The other two things that I want to mention that aren't really rides and aren't really attractions, but also aren't really entertainment, that I would say to check out are the bakery tour. At Pacific Wharf, there is a bakery where they bake all the sourdough bread in-house, which is why it always smells so dang good there. But you can do a little bakery tour, you can answer like little sourdough bread questions, but it's just cool to like walk through if you want a little break, you want some air conditioning, you can see how the bread's being made, and they give you a little piece of bread when you walk in too, so you can get a little freebie sourdough bread, because people are always looking for free things to do at Disney, because Disney is very expensive, so go get yourself a free little piece of bread. It's so good. So the bakery tour is really cute, and also games on the pier. I do wish they still had the old games because I liked the little prizes on the old games, and it is kind of expensive, but I always kind of try to make a point of just like doing a couple of the games, even if you load like 20 bucks onto a cart or something like that and split it between a few people. I just think they're really fun. I love the pier atmosphere. I've always been one of those people. I love stupid little games like that. I love the feeling of like the pier. I've always loved like Santa Monica when I travel down to California, so I don't know, that might be a personal thing, but I think the games are really cute, just like walk around. Oh, also I totally forgot about the damn Pixar Pal Around, which is the evil Ferris wheel that's also known as Mickey's Fun Wheel of Death, and like I don't care for her, but if you're gonna do it, you better do swinging, because we didn't raise no weak people in this house. I would say my top three, if you can only do three, these are all like more thrilling, so I'm sorry if you're like an infant, but Radiator Springs Racers, obviously, Guardians of the Galaxy Mission Breakout, also obviously, and then I would say Incredicoaster. If you have little ones, I would maybe switch it up and do like Radiator Springs Racers, Luigi's, and Monsters Inc. Or if they are old enough, like I do Racers, Monsters Inc., and Midway Mania. But my big ones as a thrill person would be Racers, Mission Breakout, and Incredicoaster. So yeah, that's it. That's all. Hope this wasn't too much of me just speaking at you, but those are my must-do attractions at DCA, and honestly some that aren't must-dos either. These videos have just started to be me talking about all of the attractions offered, and if I think they're important enough. Hope you enjoyed. I hope this gives you an idea if you're doing like fast passes, max passes, trip planning, touring plans, things like that, an idea of how I would personally recommend you organize your day, things that you must do. Like I said, I did Disneyland's last week, so be sure to check that out. I talk more about like kids rides in that one too. So DC is not really a kids park as much, even though it has like a lot of IPs now, but I don't know. But yeah, so I am doing this every single week. Next week we'll be talking about quick service food. I believe I'm going to do separate videos for quick service in Disneyland and DCA as well, and then I think table service is going to get its own video. And then the only other one that I have planned out is I want to do a things to do outside of Disneyland, because I do love downtown Disney. Like Disney Springs, who? No, I don't care about her, only downtown Disney. If you have anything else that you want to see, you can leave it down below. Obviously I love getting suggestions for people because I like to talk to myself, so if you think I missed anything too, let me know as well. Please subscribe. All I do is talk to myself. I need someone to listen to me. All my links to everything else is always down below. You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, places like that. And I will see you guys in probably like a couple of days, I think.